Welcome back to Today at Keeneland for this Wednesday, April 7th, the first of two 5-day race weeks here for the spring meet in 2021 here at Keeneland Racecourse. Gabby Gaudette, Scott Hazelton with you as always. And Gabby, much different feel out here from last week opening day on Friday when we were shivering. It is warm and sunny out here in this second week of racing.
Yeah, Scott, we don't have the gloves on, we don't have the heavy coats, and more importantly, we don't have to put the heater on behind us today. It is warm, it's sunny, feels like a perfect spring day to celebrate this 8-race program to get things kicked off on a pretty full week ahead here at Keeneland.
Yeah, it is another big week ahead. The Friday card is going to be fantastic. We love what we've seen here for this card as well. We hope you had a very happy Easter on Sunday and enjoyed some family time. And for those of you that maybe missed some of the action on Saturday, Gabby, it was a giant day. It delivered. Both of these days delivered. Essential Quality was sensational in his first really stiff test of his career in the Toyota Bluegrass. And then Malathat was remarkable in the Grade 1 Central Bank Ashland. And Joel Rosario, part of the story of the day, he was unstoppable in the stakes races.
Unstoppable. Scott, he now joins Jerry Bailey and Javier Castellano in a tie with 6 stakes wins at the meet. That's a record. If he wins one more, he will surpass the record set by Jerry Bailey and Javier Castellano. And we only are in one weekend. We only had Friday and Saturday, and he still managed to win six stakes races. It was also a really important weekend for Luis Saez, who was aboard Essential Quality. I thought he gave him a brilliant ride, and between the pair, between Joel Rosario and Luis Saez, they dominated opening weekend.
It's going to get tougher for them, though, because a gentleman by the name of Irad has arrived here in Lexington, Kentucky, and he's got some big opportunities. So it's going to be fun to watch the best in this game on the rider side of things and obviously on the trader side of things compete here during this upcoming week at Keeneland Racecourse. Before we get into the card, let's check in with our friends at WKYT for the latest on the weather.
We are looking pretty warm out there for this first Wednesday of Keeneland racing. Looks like our temperatures are going to stay in the 70s from the time we get to first post to the last post of the day, into that final hour, and we're running in the upper 70s, close to 80 degrees. There is a chance maybe later on toward the end of the meet we could run into a little bit of rain. Again, it's a scattered chance for the entire area, so the odds of it just particular to getting over Keeneland remain rather small, but certainly something you could see off in the distance, or even a quick little temperature change from some of the cool air that filters in. Good luck out there today and win some money.
So perfect conditions for this Wednesday card. 8 races ahead of us, post time just past 1 o'clock. And before we start really diving in to these races, let's check out our full card selections presented by TVG, Gabby. And the best way to get a hold of these, download the Keeneland Race Day app on your smart device, on your iPhone, your Android, your iPad, whatever you've got. Download it and you'll have access to all of these picks each and every day.
Yeah, and looking at the card today, Scott, I think the second half of the card is more difficult than the first half of the card. We unfortunately had some scratches in the first half of the card, but I think the late pick 4 will be really fun, and you've got to try to build your bankroll to Friday. We've already looked at Friday, and I think that's a tremendous card. So more of a different program today, but the second half of the card I think is very strong.
As far as social media is concerned, we ask you to give us a follow at Keeneland on Facebook, as well as Instagram and Twitter. And here are those handles: at Keeneland Racing on Twitter. Also got at Keeneland Sales available on Twitter as well, at Keeneland on Facebook, at Keeneland on Instagram, and the Watch TVG app. For those of you not joining us on TVG2, which today at Keeneland is broadcast each and every day here from the Keeneland race meets, if you don't have the Watch TVG app, download it on your Roku, your Amazon Fire TV, or your Apple TV. And it is the best way to watch TVG, I promise you that. You've got on-demand content. You've got the ability to bring live feeds from the racetrack straight into your home, as well as both networks, TVG and TVG2, and the TVG Racebook, which basically brings a racebook into your living room. So watch TVG, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, or Apple TV. That's where you can download that. Let's go into our featured race to start here on Today at Keeneland. That is race number 7, 2 other than allowance race for fillies and mares 4 and up that'll be going 1 1/16 on the turf course. There are a couple of scratches. The 6, 7, 14, 15, and 16 are out. That allows the 13 to draw in off the also eligible Flabbergasted off the 7-month layoff is the morning line favorite for trainer Mark Cassey, who rattled off back-to-back wins 7 months ago between June and September at Churchill Downs. But I'm going to go to the 3-horse Tuned as my top selection. That is a Toronado mare for Graham Motion and Al Shakab Racing. She's a filly that has shown some ability. She has shown up each and every time that they have run this filly. And let's go back to her most recent start at Gulfstream Park in the Grade 3 Very 1. She hasn't seen allowance company since November of last year. She's run 3 consecutive races against Stakes Company, including this most recent one in the Very 1 at Gulfstream Park. And when we roll it back for you, you're going to see her running against some very good fillies. She gets class relief here today. That's Antoinette in the Godolphin Blue out in front of her, who we expect to see later on this meet. But to run as well as she did against this class of company, again, she's the full horse in this race. She's staying on. I think the class relief and the fact that Joel Rosario is in the saddle, look for improvement for this mare. And if the favorite, if Flabbergasted down on the inside, isn't ready to roll off the 7-month layoff, and it looks like she should be based on the fast works that she's had most recently at Churchill Downs. She worked in 46-4. Perhaps she can catch her a bit off guard. She's my second selection. She's an obvious one that you're going to want to go to in the top 3 if you're playing a late pick 4, late pick 5, whatever it may be. And then finally, the 11 horse is my final selection. That is Pocket Square, a filly that comes in for Juddmonte Farms for the first time in the United States. And Gabby, this operation is so good at pinpointing these British runners, French runners, and which ones will be best suited for American racing and the firmer going that we typically have here in the States. So you've got to respect her, and there's Irad Ortiz Jr. in the saddle. So for race number 7, I'm going 3, 1, and 11.
So when I looked at this race, I think that morning line might be a little off on our graphics because the 3 Tuned is probably going to be the favorite. And in my opinion, when you look at the late pick 4 sequence, she kind of looks like a horse that many people will lean on. I'm not going to spend too much money in the late pick 4, which we'll talk about, but I did slightly go against Tuned here. I like her. The race that we showed, I'm happy that you showed that, Scott, because the Very 1 stakes, she was pace compromised. Antoinette got on the front end, went gate to wire. There was no pace for her to close into. She might get a little bit more to close into in a class relief. But those 2 allowance races at Woodbine and at Belmont, I still think she probably should have won those. So that's why I thought she was a little bit vulnerable. So I instead go to the 5 Choate Bridge here for trainer Brendan Walsh, and we'll take you back to her race 2 starts back, where she was the beaten favorite in here, but she lost to a Klarovich, Chad Brown runner and Bacchanalia, who's a legitimate mare against Allowance Company. And then unfortunately she came back on the 12th of February at Gulfstream Park, cutting back to a mile, and she had a horrendous trip. But you can see her slowly trying to close the gap against a horse that just got the jump on her. I thought her race 3 back, first off the freshening, was really good. And if we can see that type of performance today, she could potentially beat the favorite in there. So I like her as an alternative, but do respect Tuned.
Does it worry you that Florent Giroux gave first call to the horse that draws in off the also eligible, the Brad Cox runner, and it's a rider change to Corey Landry here? No disrespect to Corey, but does that bother you?
No, because, I mean, Flo rides first call for Brad. It's not a surprise that he took that call over the horse that, I mean, usually that's what happens. Your first call could be on the also eligible list. If you get a horse that scratches, you're committed to Brad. So I'm not surprised by it, and I still think Corey is perfectly suitable for this horse.
Yeah, Corey's ridden this horse in 2 of her last 3. So that's the feature. That's our opinion. Let's check in now with Tom Leach for more information on this featured 7th.
Ian Wilkes saddles Tizahara in the allowance feature on this card, and let's talk about her last race in February down at Gulfstream from a bad post. Tell me about the trip.
I thought it was actually the kid who rode, Miguel Vasquez, rode a really good race. Got her over, settled nice, got her in a good position. And I thought the filly ran a good race, just got a little bit tired on me. As the old saying goes, run out of trainer that day.
She's run well here. What's the key to getting her best effort?
I think she's trained very well since. I've been very happy with the works, and I think she's doing very well right now.
Last work was here at Keeneland, right?
Yeah, I shipped her straight in here because I was going to run her early, and I just give her a maintenance work just over the dirt, and all good.
Looks like she's improved in since that last race.
Yeah, I think so.
Good luck.
Thanks, mate.
Ian's horses were running well this past weekend, so you've got to respect what he sends forward. He always comes with the goods here, it seems, during these Keeneland race meets. So great information from Tom Leach on Ian Wilkes' runner in race number 7. Time now for us to dive into our key races of the day. These are the races that we want to focus on. We hand select them for you. And Gabby, you have the honors starting with race number 3. It's a 1 1/8 maiden race for straight 3-year-old fillies.
And unfortunately, my top selection, the 8 Bayakoa, is a scratch. So we're left with a field of 7. And with me not really having that strong of an opinion anymore, Scott, but it is what it is. We have to adjust. And I did ultimately land on the 7, A Thing of Beauty, as the top selection. The one thing about this race that I think makes it particularly tricky is that there is absolutely no speed. At least when you look at all the competitors in the race, none of them were on the lead at first call, second call, wherever, throughout the running of the race and their most recent races. So it, I think, is going to come down to a rider's race. Luis Saez, we know he's a very aggressive rider. This filly, she wasn't too far off of a pretty fast pace, going 1 1/16 last time out. So I'm hoping that he's aggressive with her. Some other horses in here, the Flying Pharaoh, she didn't get out of the gate very well, so maybe she could find herself a bit more forwardly placed. And the 2 Turning Point, she was extremely wide going into the first turn in her first race. She kind of got floated out into the center of the racetrack. So now with more of a compact field, it's really hard to determine who's going to be on the lead in this race. And if you can figure that out, that's the key to the race.
Well, I stay here for my key race analysis, and I always like this filly because I think that's what's going to happen with A Thing of Beauty. I think that Saez, with this outside draw, what's he going to do? I mean, if it doesn't look like there's much pace in here, you want to get hung back behind horses and then try to work out a trip. I think you just try to go and take advantage of the lack of pace. And let's go back to her last race on the 14th of February at Gulfstream Park. This is her first time going 1 1/16. She's locked down on the inside, but finally, when she gets a little bit of room to work with, she's able to make a bit of a run and put together a strong effort. And she's run 2 very credible races. I think that the stretch out to 1 1/8 will certainly move her forward. But this is a filly that, if Saez takes the initiative, is going to be dangerous in race number 3, and it's a wide open event. I mean, this is a race. This is probably the key, wouldn't you say, to the early pick 4, early pick 5 is figuring this one out. I mean, this could even be an all race if you want to take that approach.
It could. I think you either go all or you would approach the race with a really strong opinion and just try to single the 7. If I were playing the early pick 4, pick 5, I would probably just take an aggressive approach in that race, because I'll talk about the next race, race 4, I think is an all race.
All right, let's move along there. Race number 4. This race, keep in mind, starts the late pick 5 here on this Wednesday card. Also rolling pick 3s, rolling doubles. There are some scratches in here, which brings it down to just a field of 4. And you can see the morning line now. The biggest price is 6-1 on Polished Gem, a filly that makes sense on the drop-in class that she's taking here for Ian Wilkes.
Yeah, this race, I think you have to hit the all button. I wouldn't single in here, and then when you're talking about a 4-horse field, you don't want to go too deep. You don't really want to go 3 deep. So depending on what kind of budget you're working with the early pick 4, pick 5, I would personally just hit the all button in here. But I'm probably going to pick the longest shot of any horse in this field, which is the 5, Ununderstandable, for trainer Dane Kabisky. I just really like her. I think she'll be able to have speed off of the layoff. Now, we'll show you a race for her, but which is her last race, I believe. Yes, this was over a sloppy steel track at Indiana. Now, this was going 1 1/70. She turns back to 6 furlongs, and this was her last race was back in October of last year. So she is coming in off of a layoff. But I think that she's just as capable sprinting. She gets a class relief from the allowance races that she was running in at Indiana and even at Churchill, because I think this field really didn't come up to be that tough. And Dane Kabisky, what I've noticed from him, especially here at Keeneland, whether the horses have had recent starts or are coming in off of a layoff, he likes to train speed into them. They're really fast out of the gate, and I wouldn't be surprised if this horse opens up on the field or tries to open up on the field by a length or 2 early. So that's kind of my play in here. But again, with some of the scratches, I thought she might have gotten lost before the scratches, I thought she could have gotten lost. You would have gotten a better price. You have to adjust, and I would probably hit the all button in the pick 4.
Yeah, it really looks like that's the safest approach if you want to take that approach here today. So that 4th race, start of the late pick 5. perhaps just buy it and turn it into a late pick 4. I'm going to go to the start of the card for my next key race analysis, and that's the opener. 4.5 furlongs, maiden 2-year-olds, and you've got the Wesley Ward favorite Coffee Maker by Jimmy Creed, a homebred for Greg Kaufman. It's a half-brother to Zano. He won second time out in a maiden claiming race at the age of 2. It's the same pattern we've seen with these Wesley Ward 2-year-olds, 3 furlong workouts, and then it's go time. He doesn't put a lot of work into him. He's told us that you don't need to put that much work into the horses that he has. It's all about the gate break, and that's finding out who is the best one away from the gate. I'm going to go away from Wesley here. Wesley's had a great meet, but he's yet to have a 2-year-old show up, which is un-Wesley-like. He's had the stakes success, which you would obviously prefer, but I go to the 3-horse Social Mandate, and my man John Hancock, Gabby, he came with the info in the first race of the meet with Bohemian Frost. He said, watch out for a different barn. He watches these 2-year-olds train. And he told us he was going to win with the 7-horse last week. I believe it was on opening day. I can't think of her name. She didn't break well, but she ran well. If she breaks, she wins that race. She kind of got pinched. He said, they're not beating me in the opener on Wednesday. That's what he said. I'm going with the info with John Hancock. He says post 2 shouldn't be an issue. She'll be quick away from the starting gate and go on with it. So Lannery, Social Mandate will probably be second choice because all the money's going to go to the Wesley Ward runner. But John Hancock says, watch out for this one. And then he's got another Flat Drunk, another first-time starter who's a half to a first-out winner by the name of Flat Drunk, whose name was changed after she was sold. But I believe that's tomorrow. We're mixing our cards together because we're working so far ahead in these weeks. But John Hancock coming with the info. I'm going to take it. We got no race to roll back because this is a first-time starter. But
you have the info.
We have the info. That's all you need. And John Hancock, I mean, this is a man that has called me in recent months, and he comes with it. And there's something to be said about these trainers that, focus their program on 2-year-old races and are able to watch these horses. That's the key. You know this. That's the key to any successful trainer, watching the competition and know where you fit.
Yep. No, I totally agree. The tricky thing about 2-year-old races, Scott, you know as well as I do, a horse can be super talented, but they don't get out of the gate despite how many gate works, how many times you school them in the morning. So that's what, I think is sometimes the hardest thing about these baby races. But best of luck to John, and I like the info that you provided there. Good
All right.
stuff.
And I think we're going to come with similar info with the Clocker Report because the Clocker Report starts with race 1 and Social Mandate. With the workout on the 20th of March, so just really a few days back, 47-3, fourth best of 59. Trainer does well with 2-year-olds. Local breeze encouraging, so that's nice to see. So, and then in race number, hopefully this isn't killing our price. This is what's going to happen. But they're going to bet Wesley,
Wesley's
right?
in there.
Okay,
They won't
fair.
kill your price.
That's fair. And then in race number 5, the number 3 horse is the focus of the Clocker Report. That's third draft, worked in 48-1. That was back on the 3rd of April, so recently more ground will benefit her late kick, and trainer is 20% with the rider. So the trainer-rider combination last season at 20% win rate. So race 1 the 3, race 5 the 3. Make sure you mark those in your past performances and programs for this card here today. All right, time now to move into our late pick 4 analysis for this Wednesday card. And you said, Gabby, it gets tougher in the second half. Be interested to see your approach here and how much you suggest investing in this late pick 4.
Just think the fields are bigger and there's more to work off of here in the late pick 4. My ticket's still very cheap because I did find a single in the sequence. If you have a bigger bankroll, if you think the late pick 4 is going to pay more, then by all means add to this ticket. But the 5th race is the race in which the late pick 4 starts, and I do have a strong opinion in there, but it is still a maiden race at 9 furlongs on the turf, so I still wanted to have some coverage as there looks like some fillies in there that could take steps forward. The 4, Salet, though, is my top selection for Kenny McPeak. I'll talk more about her later as she is my best bet of the day. And the 6th race is a starter optional claimant event, 6 furlongs on the main track. I really did think that the 4, Don't Forget, just stands out. He's coming into the race off of 90 buyer speed figures, and nobody is within that range whatsoever in that race. So if he can continue on here at Keeneland, he looks like a standout in that race. The 7th, an allowance race, a mile and a 16th, our featured event, just using the 3 and the 5. I mentioned Tuned, who I like. but still going against her with the 5 Tote Bridge. If you're adding to this ticket, I would probably include the 1 Flabbergasted and also perhaps the 3 More Than Unusual, who draws in off the AE. And then the 8th and final race, just using 3 horses, the 1A, 4, and the 6. The top pick is the 1A.
We have a fairly similar approach, really, Gabby, because race number 6, and we'll touch more on that, is the same idea. The single, that horse, if he shows up again, will win. In this first leg, though, race number 5 at 1 1/8 miles, 6, 8, and 9, never content, maybe shows speed, comes out of a jouster race, just 2 starts back. Jouster stakes win this past weekend going wire to wire. The 8-horse Wolfbane, another one. Can he show, or she show a little bit of speed today with a better break? She's been tough to get away from the starting gate, so maybe her luck changes today with Luis Saez. And then Zuri, the number 9 horse for Godolphin, $1 million Keeneland September sales graduate from 2019. This is a half-sister to Wicked Whisper, Point of Honor, and Velvet Mood, all stakes winners. You should at very least recognize Point of Honor and Wicked Whisper because they're recent stakes winners in the last couple of seasons. So a very nicely related filly who should take a step forward off of her debut as they transition her over to the turf course. Again, race number 6, the single is the 4. I'll touch more on that horse in a bit, and we'll show you back one of the more recent races. Spreading out a bit more in race number 7, 1, 3, 9, and 11, Flabbergasted, the 3-horse Tune, the outside runners, the 9, Walk in Marrakesh. She's got talent. Maybe she comes back to it today for Nacho Correas in the 11, and then 3 deep in the final race, race number 8, 1, 4, and 6. And by using the 1, you get 2 for the price of 1 there because there is an entry in the nightcap. So $18 ticket, $14 from Gabby. So I think it's a very easy pick 4, late pick 4 to play where you're not going to have to spend a lot of money. Let's go to my best angle. Promise you we'd go back to race number 6 and talk more about this favorite. This could be the shortest price favorite of the afternoon. That's Don't Forget for Robertino Diodoro, who had himself a really nice fall meet, winning a lot of races for his clients, M&M Racing, who ended up being leading owners here back in the fall. But as Gabby pointed out, the speed figures are fast and putting together fast times. I mean, just simply looking at the time in a starter allowance race, stopping the clock in 1:09 and 1 is going to get it done in most races, and especially at this level as they continue to take advantage of these starter conditions. So let's go back to his last race, March 7th at Oaklawn Park. Pretty straightforward type sprinter. He gets good early position right off the pace, and then he's able to kick on, and here he comes with that run, and it should be a pretty similar setup for him. I mean, does the speed come from Malpais, the 5-horse, the Hawthorne Invader for Antonio Moraz, or the outside horse coming in from Mahoning Valley up in Ohio, Savage Nation? He had to work for it a little bit here, but I think these are better horses that he was running against at Oaklawn Park. So I'll use him in the 5 Malpais as the exacta. $10 exacta, ice cold it. Shout to Dave Weaver there. 4 over 5 in race number 6. I think the most likely winner of the entire day is this number 4 horse, Don't Forget, in race number 6.
I'd have to agree with you. And if he doesn't win, I think that really opens up the late pick 4 because people will be leaning on him. Okay, I'm going to take us to the 5th race for my best angle of the day. This race, a maiden special weight, 1 1/8 miles. Speaking of the late pick 4, this race does start the late pick 4. Scratch the 2, Kitsy, in here, but the rest of the field stays intact. And I went to the 4 Salad as the top selection, a 3-year-old filly by American Pharoah. Now, I can remember either talking to Kenny McPeak or at least hearing through the grapevine that they really liked this horse before her first race. And nothing went well that day. We'll take you back to her first race. This was on the turf at Gulfstream Park, and she did not get out of the gate very well. You can see her coming out. She kind of gets away a little bit awkwardly, and then Jose Ortiz, she's the number 4 horse. Jose Ortiz has to sit down in the saddle and then kind of use her to leverage himself back up into the saddle. So she lost so much ground in the beginning stages of the race. You can see the winner, Joy of Painting, is the 2. She's well clear. She made the early move. And unfortunately, Salad, she had to go about 8 wide at the quarter pole, and she comes with this closing run. It just did not work out for her that day from the get-go, and then also at the quarter pole, and then trying to catch that speed runner as well, and Joy of Painting. Now, since then, they've run her on the dirt, and I don't think she's a dirt horse. I think she's a turf horse. But when you have a really nice horse in the barn, we say this all the time, with 3-year-old fillies and 3-year-old boys, you have to see what you have on the dirt. You have hopes for Derby Oaks. I just think that she's a better turf horse. So I'm happy to see her come back to the turf today. And I don't think a mile is her cup of tea, the distance in which she ran first time out. I think this distance is going to be perfect for her. I really like her here today, but it is still a maiden special weight, and that's why I didn't single her. I could have singled her if I didn't feel confidently about the other single in the sequence, Scott.
Really?
I like her.
Okay.
I like her a lot. I think Kenny likes her a lot, and her first race was just, unfortunate. But she can, that 68 Beyer speed figure is too slow. She's going to be much faster today.
Well, forget about the $10 win hammer. Why don't you drop the $100 win hammer? Just come on.
I don't know, because I'm cheap.
Right from here to the window. Right from here to the window, Gabby Gaudet. Pull out that stack of hundreds. Tom Leach's pick of the day. He's going to go to the featured event, race number 7. And searching for a price, as Tom always does, which we appreciate, 10-1 on Walk in Marrakesh. This is a filly that I threw in my late pick 4, and I think that you have to consider that because there have been points where she's shown some flashes of talent. She was grade 3 placed, grade 1 placed in her first start in the Natalma in the United States back in 2019. She was runner-up to Enola Gay in the grade 2 Appalachian this past summer here at Keeneland. She's run a couple of races since, which have not been as good. But 5 months off, maybe she'll be ready to roll here. She's had gaps in her races or, breaks in her races, and she's come back with strong enough effort. So 10-1 on Walk in Marrakesh, 88 Beyer in the Appalachian Stakes here last year, and Johnny Velasquez, the Hall of Famer, takes the call. So Tom Leach swinging again in race number 7, swinging for the fences for the price horse, Walk in Marrakesh. Good day. We look ahead to the weekend, Gabby, and look forward to this 5-day race week. And we might get a little bit of rain tomorrow is what I'm hearing, but today, perfect conditions here in Lexington.
It really is. It's a beautiful day here. We're going to get to the high 70s, low 80s even, much different from last weekend, 8-race program as well. So looking forward to today and the rest of the week, Scott.
For Gabby, I'm Scott and the entire team here on Today at Keeneland. Thank you so much for enjoying us, and enjoy the races here on this Wednesday card.
Start your journey in a new Toyota. Where you end up is up to you. With 14 different all-wheel drive Toyotas to choose from, the possibilities are endless. Head to the trails in a Prius. Find a fishing hole with RAV4. Just have fun in a Tacoma. Hit the slopes in the family-size Highlander. Or get a grip on the road in the all-wheel drive Camry. All come with the traction you need for confident driving. Any road, any weather. Your adventure, your Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Keeneland Racecourse. At this time, we ask that you would please rise in tribute to our national anthem. Keeneland is proud to recognize Robin Kelly from the Keeneland shop as the employee of the day. Congratulations, Robin.
In the event of an emergency, Keeneland is dedicated to ensuring the safety of our patrons. This video illustrates the proper evacuation protocol from all locations in the Keeneland Grandstand facility. Depending on the nature of the emergency, directions may be altered. Please remain calm and follow the direction of guest services and security personnel. Patrons should never use elevators during an evacuation. Patrons in the corporate boxes, Eclipse Room, and Phoenix Room should exit using the stairway located near Elevator A. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and veer right to exit through the lower club entrance. Patrons in the Lafayette Room, Keeneland Room, Lexington Room, and Kentucky Room should exit using the stairway located near Elevator B. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and exit through the paddock area using the East Gate. Patrons in the third floor main clubhouse and clubhouse paddock dining rooms should exit using the stairway located near Elevator A. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and veer right to exit through the lower club entrance. Patrons in the Bluegrass Room and third floor ITW area should exit using the stairway located near Elevator B. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and exit through the paddock area using the East Gate. Patrons in the Finish Line Room and Green Room should exit using the stairway leading to the North Terrace. Proceed down the stairs to the second level and through the doors outside. Proceed down the stairs to the ground level and exit through the North Gate. Patrons in the outside reserved grandstand seats and boxes should proceed down the nearest stairway to the ground level. Proceed under the grandstand towards the paddock area and exit via the nearest point of exit, the South Gate or the East Gate. Patrons in the second floor main clubhouse dining room and Life Members Room should exit using the stairway on the south side of the administrative offices. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and exit through the South Gate. Patrons in the second floor clubhouse paddock dining room and clubhouse tavern should exit using the stairway located near Elevator A. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and veer right to exit through the lower club entrance. Patrons in the mezzanine bar and second floor ITW area should exit using the stairway located near Elevator B. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and exit through the paddock area using the East Gate. Patrons in the sports bar and cantina should exit through the doors leading to the North Terrace. Proceed down the stairs to the ground level and exit through the North Gate. Patrons in the lower club, clubhouse lawn, club lobby, and director's room should proceed toward the clubhouse parking lot using the nearest point of exit. Patrons in the gift shop should proceed toward the South Gate using the nearest point of exit. Patrons in the apron area should proceed under the grandstand towards the paddock area and exit via the nearest point of exit, the South Gate or the East Gate. Patrons in the equestrian room and first floor Brats and Brew should proceed towards the North Terrace and exit through the North Gate. Patrons in the paddock area and North Terrace should proceed toward the nearest point of exit, the South Gate, East Gate, or North Gate. After evacuating the facility, please remain calm and follow the direction of guest services and security personnel in the safest route to return to your vehicle. Thank you for your attention and cooperation.
they're off. There goes American Law. American Law outrunning for the lead. Ghazali is there toward the inside. And then Biggie in full charge and Benny from the Bronx at the back. American Law to the front, though, for Joel Rosario here early on. American Law gets to the front, gets over next to the rail. American Law leads it by a length and a half. Will now work his way around the first turn, chased by Ghazali, who's a lane off the rail, in second by just a length. Biggie third by 2 lengths. Benny from the Bronx moves up fourth and next just outside of full charge, who is at the back of the pack, but right there with the rest against the rail after an opening quarter in 24.57 seconds. American Law has Ghazali drawing alongside now, and Biggie tries to join them on the far outside in third. Less than a length separate the top three. Ghazali right alongside of American Law, who still has a head in front. Biggie far outside is third, a length off the front pair. Gap of just over 2 more back to Benny from the Bronx, who's fourth the neck, and full charge is fifth to the inside of that one. The first half mile, 49.02 seconds. American Law, Ghazali, 1-2. A neck separates them into the far turn. Gap of 2, Biggie, third up on the outside, a half length, full charge. Benny from the Bronx brings up the back as they move midway on the turn. Here's Ghazali again on the outside. American Law still has a short lead down toward the inside around the turn. Gap of 2 back to full charge, who moves up the rail into the third position. Benny from the Bronx is fourth, and Biggie has dropped back into the fifth spot, coming to the quarter pole. Top of the stretch, American Law, Ghazali still going at it for the lead, side by side off the turn. 5 more lengths then. Back to full charge in third. Benny from the Bronx in fourth. Biggie at the back. Here's Ghazali with the lead now. Ghazali trying to work free at the 8th pole from American Law, who's still there toward the inside but second. Ghazali, American Law still fighting onto the inside. 16th pole, just a half length separate the top two, but Ghazali is in front. Ghazali now opens up. Ghazali to win the opener for Luis Saez. American Law was home second. Full charge third. Benny from the Bronx fourth, and Biggie across the line in fifth.
So it's Ghazali, as expected, able to...
Circle for Keeneland's first, the ups and downs. One, Ghazali, owned by the Shadwell stable of Rick Nichols, trained by Todd Pletcher. Luis Saez, the jockey. Ghazali, 3-year... Keeneland's second race upcoming. Double and pick 3 wagering. Early pick 4 wagering also. Carryover for the Jackpot Super High Fives. And they're off. There goes Mahomes Money being hustled up down toward the inside for the early lead. Big in the City comes out running fast between horses. Bourbon Thunder there to the inside. AC Expressway kicks in on the extreme outside and moves up. Perfect Cut tries to move up behind that one. AC Expressway has the lead far outside. Moves up, leads it by a neck. Mahomes Money right there to the inside. Second by a length. Perfect Cut far outside. Bourbon Thunder down toward the rail. Big in the City is in between that pair as they head for the far turn. Just a length and a half off the lead. CFV Red Nova is running along next to last, and Two Princes is the trailer. 23.32 seconds was the time for the opening quarter. AC Expressway outward from the rail leads it by a neck. Mahomes Money right there to the inside, second, a length and a half. Perfect Cut is third by 3/4 of a length. CFV Red Nova moves up a closer fourth on the far outside, still 3 from the front though. Bourbon Thunder is fifth down toward the inside, looks for some running room around the far turn. CFV Red Nova comes up to the far outside to challenge AC Expressway for the lead. Moving off the turn, Perfect Cut, then Mahomes Money back toward the inside. Bourbon Thunder in behind horses fifth down toward the rail. CFV Red Nova to the lead, coming to the 8th pole. Mahomes Money tries to find more. AC Expressway is in between that pair. Now Bourbon Thunder runs late, but is fourth on the outside. CFV Red Nova with Bourbon Thunder running late. AC Expressway to the inside. Bourbon Thunder coming from the outside. Down to the line. Bourbon Thunder rallies up to win for Chris Landeros.
What a trip for...
In the winner's circle for Keeneland's second race, one Bourbon Thunder, owned by the Bourbon Lane stable of Jamie Hill and Michael McMahon, owned also by Lake Star stable of Gregory Burns, Ian Wilkes, the trainer, and Chris Landeros, the jockey. Keeneland's third race upcoming, main track. They're off. There goes KC Rocket out for the lead, and here comes Shadow Matter. Shadow Matter now moves up to challenge KC Rocket for the top spot. Recidivist goes third up on the far outside. Gun Lap moves through a crowd into fourth, less than a length off that front trio. Reward Night, fifth to the inside. Primary Endpoint out in the center of the track is in the 6th position. Then King's Mischief in 7th between horses, joined by Unembellished and Priest, who trails to the far turn. 23.05 seconds the time for that opening quarter. It is Shadow Matter who leads it by a half length. KC Rocket second a half length. Recidivist is third up on the far outside. Gunlap is looking toward the inside in fourth against the rail, just a length and a half behind the leader, but looking for some more running room. Gap of 2 more. Reward Night comes next, then King's Mischief and Unembellished as they move off the far turn. Primary Endpoint is dropped out to the back alongside of Priest. They turn for home. KC Rocket, Shadow Matter with Gunlap looking to move up toward the inside, a closer third. Coming by the 8th pole, Recidivist is still in 4th position. Shadow Matter has the lead in the final furlong. A late run from Reward Night, changing lanes toward the outside from 4th, trying to chase down Shadow Matter. Reward Night goes to 2nd. Shadow Matter, Reward Night has not given up yet, but the wire's coming at the line. It is Shadow Matter to give Luis Saez his 2nd win on the card. Circle for Keeneland's 3rd race, the Denali 5 Shadow Matter, owned by West Point Thoroughbreds LLC of Terry Finley, owned also by Pearl Racing of Jim Pearl. Dallas Stewart, the trainer. 2 winners today for Luis Saez, the winning jockey. Shadow Matter, a 3-year-old son of Macho Uno, out of casting director by Bernardini. Winner bred in Kentucky by Bon Chance Farm LLC. And they're off. There's Urban Fairy Tale with Osaka Girl to her inside. Those two come forward in the opening strides. We the Clouds moves up. Emily's Oasis right there as well in the 4th position as they head down to the first turn. We the Clouds, Osaka Girl back toward the rail, contest the lead. Urban Fairy Tale between that pair now goes 2nd as We the Clouds went wide out toward the center of the course as they moved into the first turn. Now starts to regain a couple of spots, but still caught to the far outside and 3rd by just a head. And then Emily's Oasis, hard-held, wrestled back and forth between horses, vividly moves up from 5th to her inside. Moral Reasoning hugs the rail in 6th. Fritzy is 7th. Tootsie is 8th. Hat Tip is in 9th. Secret Time is toward the back of the pack in the 10th position. Enjoy It While We Can is alongside her in 11th. Empress Eleanor, last of the 12. It was 22.79 seconds for the opening quarter, the first half mile, and 47.01 seconds. Osaka Girl, the leader. Osaka Girl leads at a length and a half. Urban Fairy Tale 2nd toward the outside into the far turn. Vividly 3rd down toward the rail. We the Clouds 4th up on the outside. Emily's Oasis is 5th in between horses, still tossing her head about. Tootsie moves up on her outside. Moral Reasoning there down toward the rail. Enjoy It While We Can has to go toward the center of the course, running nearly 10 lengths off the lead. Secret Time still has a lot of running to do down toward the rail as they come to the final furlong. Osaka Girl is the leader, has it a length and a half. Enjoy It While We Can to the outside. Secret Time is trapped down toward the inside, trying to find an opening. Enjoy It While We Can comes forward. Empress Eleanor is running on behind her. Enjoy It While We Can has the lead. Can she hang on? Empress Eleanor is right there on the outside. Enjoy It While We Can. Empress Eleanor, head-bobbing photo for the win. Either Enjoy It While We Can or Empress Eleanor for the top spot. Into the winner's circle first comes number 9, Empress Eleanor, owned by Marybelle Stable, John Moores and Charles Knoll, trained by Ignacio Correas. James Graham, the jockey. Empress Eleanor, 4-year-old filly by Empire. They're off. Manitowish broke alertly from the far outside. Democracy has early speed. Paleo, Joe Frazier. Here's Joe Frazier moving up now out of a crowd into 2nd. Manitowish has the lead, though. From the outside, starts to angle down toward the inside. Has the lead by a length and a half. Joe Frazier goes 2nd. Warrant, 3rd up on the outside. Paleo is 4th against the rail. Democracy, 5th in the center of the track. Notable exception, 6 between horses. 1 Fast Cat, 7th down toward the inside. Then Medicine Tail, who travels 8th, 1 lane off the rail into the far turn. Surly Furious back at the back of the pack in the 9th position, joined by Santa Cruiser to the outside and Founder, who moves up 1 spot from last between that pair. 22.68 seconds, the time for the opening quarter. Joe Frazier, the leader. Joe Frazier leads at 3/4 of a length around the far turn. Warrant goes 2nd by just over a length. And now Paleo taking 3rd by a head to the inside of Manitowish, who's in the 4th position. And then Notable Exception is 5th. Democracy, a wide 6th. 1 Fast Cat looking for running room, changes lanes, comes out from behind the front pair, moves up to the outside, but still 3rd, 2 lengths off the front pair. You've got Warrant and Joe Frazier going at it for the lead. 1 Fast Cat tries to join them.